in 3 months' time we're releasing this. So
Right. I have a question about customizing skins that you have, as far as not necessarily changing out a skin, but if you have a skin, could you take that same pattern and then just adjust the colors, or add like racing numbers if you have a 350 or an M50, or something like that, like you could, in some other games, take a set of armor and just change the colors on the armor.
So we're definitely going to let you have a certain amount of tweaking in terms of like your decal and maybe some of the base paint jobs. We're still trying to sort of decide how best to do this in game, because the one problem that we have is, like, I mean, you could let people like custom paint all their ships, but if you had 60 people all show up with custom, I mean, our ships are pretty complex and detailed, and they usually have something like 100 megabytes of textures for an individual ship on the high level of detail.
Right.
So, if you had 60 of those, all at 100 megabytes, you basically just burn through 6 gigabytes. And, unless you've got a Titan sitting in your machine, you don't have enough video memory for it. Because we all tend, our unique maps on our ship are either 2 or 4K, which are really high in memory usage. So then the resolution would drop down. So we're kind of trying to feel a balance of how do we let the players have some customization, versus not like killing texture memory. So I think we're kind of erring on the side of like being able to do racing stripes and changing numbers and applying decals to your ship, and having basic paint schemes that you can say, okay, I can change this from white to red or something, but not to the case where like someone can literally like paint the hull, do a complete custom paint job,
right,
deal across the hull, because that unfortunately. When if it was a single player game, yes, you could probably be fine with it. But when you don't, everyone could show up with a unique texture. It's kind of could potentially be a problem. So I think we may allow like one custom texture per player that's used for basically their decal sheet, and then they can sort of apply it along the ship where they want it.
Okay. I have a question. You talked about being able to hire NPCs, to help crew your ships, and how you could potentially have NPCs that have different skill levels, but even with the best, probably not being as good as a player. If say you don't have the funds to hire the best NPC at the beginning, if you stick with one over time, will their skill improve, so that maybe you start out with a guy that's kind of a mediocre turret gunner, but you fly with him for a long period of time, and he gets to be to the upper end of what an NPC can be?
I wouldn't rule that out. I guess that's that part of like the NPC progression we haven't really thought about. I mean, I think generally our concept was that you basically just sort of hire different grades of NPC, and cheap guys aren't particularly great, and the expensive guys, it's like a quality. It's like, okay, you want the premium. You want the premium dude, or you want the like low rent dude. And the low rent dude just may not be that very good. The premium dude's a much better operator of a turret and has a much higher hit ratio. So I think our original conception was it was sort of static, right? So you basically got what you paid for, and it wasn't like if you had this NPC that was with you for 100 missions, he becomes a better gunner at the end of it. Although that's a cool concept, so I'm not opposed to it. It's really just a matter of every time we add a little extra thing to it, it's just an extra thing to implement, and our list of implementation is pretty big right now. So again, that could be something that may be a later stage feature that gets brought on after the main persistent universe is online.
Okay, and then looking at as far as revenue, obviously doing very well so far. But with the mocap studio, and then we will hit the sound studio, I'm sure, at some point in the near future. Any chance of being able to use those to bring in additional revenue? Because like you said, you wanted to do your own mocap due to the cost of renting equipment.
No, totally. So any money that we bring in for that is just going towards development. So we
absolutely.
So we actually already have, I think, a couple of the other developers, because we're the only like mocap. And our mocap system's actually better than a lot of other places because we just got the newest, coolest stuff. But there's already 2 of the Austin studios that need to do some mocap, and normally they would go to LA or Dallas or somewhere to do it. And so I think we're talking to them about doing it. And then even Behavior, who's doing work for us on the game, they've got another game. I think it's an NBA game they're doing that they need some mocap for. So in that case, we actually probably wouldn't pay them. It would be like a barter deal where they're doing work for us, and so we do the mocap for them. And so again, that would save money on the game, which is good.
Okay. I'm looking for time real quick.
About 2 minutes left.
All right. Try to hit a couple of real quick, simple questions. You don't have to be any wordier than you want to be. First one. Being from Austin and knowing you worked there for many years, what's your favorite local Austin restaurant?
Well, in the old days, I think it was Hudson's on the Bend.
Yeah.
But my old house was like right around the corner from it. And there was a great Cajun place called Gumbo's. But now I've been back recently. There's a place called Uchi and Uchiko, which is, I was completely shocked because I live here in LA now. And they've got great Japanese food, but both those places were pretty outstanding when I went there. I would have never guessed it because Austin's kind of landlocked, so you're not expecting really great fresh fish, but it was pretty awesome. So I would say in Austin right now, I guess I would say Uchi, and then there's another place that I quite like is called Barley Swine, which is like these little craft beers and kind of crazy foodie things. And that's down, I think, on I can't remember, it's South Lamar or South Congress. I think South Lamar for Barley Swine. But anyway, so those about.
Space whales, go.
Should I make a space whale noise? Or? No, I don't really have any space whales. Unless you're talking about people buying Corvettes, but I don't. They're not whales. I think what they are people that are supporting the development, and they like supporting it, and I'm happy that they're doing it.
Okay. Any hints as far as for anybody going forward from here that may not be able to make the rest of the full 20 hours, 24 hours? Any particular times you would recommend tuning in?
Let's see. Well, it depends if you're into things. If you want to hear a bunch of technical programming stuff, then you want to probably show up at 2 a.m. If you want to hear the designers talk about designing stuff, then that comes in at 3 a.m. I think we have a second part of art at 4 a.m. Then I don't know what's happening between 4 and 7, apparently not much. And then I think